Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I have a lot of gifts that were sent to me in the last couple of weeks. Let's have a look at them. When I was at the Maceto show back at the beginning of July, I got a gift from the tropicalbonsai.com. They specialize in importing bonsai from Vietnam. And I got this ruby apricot, a beautiful little tree, sort of an exposed root over rock planting. Here is the information on the company. So they have a website, www.thetropicalbonsai.com. And I also got a catalog from them right here, showing some of the trees that are available. So let's have a look. So they have water jasmine. They have the golden apricot tree, a fir tree, a frangipani paper flower, an orange rutaceae, I don't know how to say that, a red jungle flame tree, guava bonsai, miracle berry, Caramobola apple starfruit. Oh, that's cool. I've seen that in grocery stores, the starfruit. Orange jasmine or bay laurel. Red porcelain flower. Frankincense. Java cola. All interesting trees, all from Vietnam. A lot of species that you just can't get anywhere else. Ruby apricot, or called a wild crepe myrtle. Beautiful flowers on them. And a Thai toad tree. And then they sell orchids, all kinds of orchids. We'll just skip over the orchids, but beautiful orchids. Yeah, so that's an example of some of the trees they import from Vietnam. And you can buy them as Penjings here. Very interesting. Yeah, so I'm excited to see the stock they get in. I think there's some really, really cool kind of exotic species that you just won't see anywhere else. They also gave me a water jasmine as a gift. And it's a really, really old one. You can see the trunk here. It's getting quite thick. It's had a few severe chops, but that'll grow out eventually. I'll just keep working on it. Beautiful tree. And here's the flowers up here. You can see there's little white flowers. I'm just going to smell them. I think they're quite fragrant. Yes, oh, they're very fragrant. Smell beautiful. So that's the water jasmine, a new tree to the bonsai zone. Some of the most beautiful bonsai in the world come from Vietnam, so I'm very excited to see all the new trees that are coming in, and I'll make sure to make a video of it. Let's go on to some more gifts now. Next, I have a couple of gifts from Scott Winard from Let's Do Bonsai, and he got me a travel pouch to put all my documents in because I will be traveling to the United Kingdom this fall, so I can keep my passport and all my documents in here, keep them nice and safe. So thanks very much, Scott. That's going to come in really handy. He also got me a box full of goodies here. So I'll show you what's in here. Here it is. So there's these bamboo blocks, like here. I'll put those out, take them out. And then in the box here is some bonsai pots. And they have a hole in the bottom. They're a ceramic pot, and they fit in the base of the bamboo blocks here, or slabs. So nice little pots for either small bonsai or starting seedlings or cuttings. Fantastic little pots. So thanks very much, Scott. Next, I have a gift from Chris Snedden. He's a potter in London, Ontario, Canada. And this is a raku fired pot. So you can see the metallic colors on the bottom. It's just absolutely beautiful. beautiful metallic colors. There's a flower pattern on the top. I'll show you a close-up of that. Here's a close-up of the pot. You can see how the flowers are picked out by the glaze. It's amazing. Just a beautiful pot. So thanks very much, Chris. I'll put Chris's information in the description below. Quite a while ago, I got Neytiri from the movie Avatar 3D printed, and this model is available on Thingiverse. And I've always wanted to try some figure painting, trying to get, a more realistic look to the figure. So I've been watching some videos and techniques on how to do really good figure painting. And I thought, well, I think I should print off a larger model of Neytiri and try that. So I did that. I got it printed at the library. Here's a look at the 3D print. So I got it printed twice as large, at least twice as large. So it prints in two pieces like this. There's the lower body and the upper body. And these are all supports, breakaway supports, exposing the figure. So the overall height, if I look here, somewhere about here. So you can see it compared to the original, it's about twice as high. So this will be really, really fun painting it up. I'm looking forward to it. I get all my 3D printing done at my local library. They have a maker space and a 3D printer, and you can just send the file to them and they print it off. It's quite convenient. This print cost $5, so that's quite reasonable. Next up, I have some gifts from Peter Chan. When he visited the Bonsai Zone, he brought me 2 tools. These tools are made in China exclusively for Heron's Bonsai to his specs, and he says they're beautiful tools to use. So I don't know whether I should open them or not. It seems a shame not to use them, but it's also, I don't know, it's like a collector's item for me, because it was quite an honor to meet Peter Chan. When Peter Chan announced he was coming to Toronto and wanted to meet me, I expected to drive down to Toronto and talk to him at his hotel or something, or at a bonsai event. Little did I know he was coming to my actual house here, and what a surprise. It was so nice to have Peter over here. I really enjoyed his visit. He's such a gentleman and a fantastic bonsai enthusiast and now YouTuber. I'll put the link to his channel in the description below. Last but not least, I have a package from Jakob. I haven't opened it yet. Let's see what's inside. All right, let's open the package up. This is very exciting. I can't wait to see what's inside. I have a good clue to what it is. Let's have a look. So, Jakob sent me a present before, and it was baobab fruit. And I think this is more. This is exciting. Oh, yes, it is. So there's the fruit of a baobab. So I'll get them all out, and we'll have a look at them. Here is a look at the fruit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 baobab fruits or seed pods. So inside is a nice, sweet, pulpy, custard-like tasting pulp. And then there's seeds inside too that I'm going to plant and hopefully get more baobab trees growing, because I just love the baobab tree. I love the fruit, and I love eating the leaves on them. They just taste beautiful. So thanks very, very much, Jakob. Here is a look at my baobab tree, my tallest one. So you can see it here. It's doing really, really well. The trunk is thickening up nicely. Yeah, an awesome tree. So my plan for this tree is to grow it until it becomes quite thick, and it'll be very tall by then. And then I'm going to do a trunk chop on it, pruning it off to the height I want, and it'll grow new branches. And I'll also have to do the same for the roots, because the roots are big, thick roots that go into the soil. And I'll have to cut those off to get sort of a fine radial root spread. So it'll be really interesting doing the bonsai work, and I'll only do this work kind of midsummer when it's hot and sunny out, because you don't want these baobabs to rot. They're susceptible to rotting, especially in this climate. So in the winter, these trees naturally lose their leaves as fall approaches, and I just leave them dry for the entire winter. I don't water them at all. And then in spring they begin to wake up. They get little green shoots coming out on the branches once again, and then you begin the watering, and they grow for the summer. When they're in leaf like this, you can water them quite a bit, but they have to have a good canopy of leaves. Otherwise they sit in wet soil and you'll get that root rot. So far this is year 3 for these baobabs, and these are from the seeds that Jakob sent earlier, so 3 years ago. So I'm hoping, out of all the seeds he sent, I got 3 growing. So I don't know how many I'll get growing from these seed pods. I hope many of them, because I want to give some away, and I want to grow enough that I can have a salad with the leaves on it someday. Or maybe, you know, many salads off the trees. So very exciting. Baobabs are one of my favorite trees in nature. They're so unique looking. They're a succulent. And so far, I've had good luck growing them in this Canadian climate. It's good and hot here in the greenhouse, 40 degrees Celsius, and very, very humid today. So I thought this is a good day to work on my Chinese village Penjing, pruning up the trees and getting it looking a little better. All right, I'll get the Penjing onto the turntable, like that. I'll move it up so I can spin it around, if I can. There we go. That'll make it easy to work on. When I brought this planting from inside to outdoors in spring, the trees were in a little rough a shape. They had scale insects on them. I sprayed them, but now they've recovered and grown quite well. So today I'm going to prune up the trees, setting them up for a possible fall show. If I'm going to put this planting in a fall show, I've got a lot of work to do on it. It's not looking too good at the moment. The moss is a little dry. The trees, I got some dieback on them, which was kind of unexpected, but you just prune off your dead branches and continue growing with what you've got. So I'll begin with the pruning today, starting with this tree right here. Before I prune the trees up, I'm going to give the whole planting a watering. It's looking a little dry. I want to keep that moss nice and green if I can. I'm looking at the trees from the distance, trying to decide how tall I should make them. I think I could bring them down quite a bit in height and they would still look good. So I'm thinking, you know, quite far down in height. The smaller I make the trees, the more powerful the trunks will look. Now these trees are just young, but I think, you know, bringing them down in height will make them look a little more realistic. I think they're just getting too tall compared to the houses. All right, I'm looking at tree number 1 here. I can definitely take this shoot back. There's a new one here, so I'll take it off right to here, making that branch more compact. Now, this branch I got dieback out front here. It's too bad. That was my main leader of the tree, kind of coming forward. So the only branch that's alive is the one out to the side. So I'll reduce that back, pruning it back in height. And then I'll have to prune off my deadwood here. And I'll just have to come flush. Yeah, it was all dead. There's no green alive in that at all. Even the cut is dead. It's, you know, there's no bleeding at the cut point here. There's a scale insect on there. So I'm definitely going to have to respray the trees. So it's quite possible that, you know, this may develop something out front, so I'm going to leave it. If not, then I'll have to train one of these other branches as the main leader of the tree. I'm going to take off some dead wood here. I'll prune this one back to here, like that. There's another scale insect on it right there. So there's still a little bit of scale. I'll prune this one back to here, this one back to here, and this one I can go right back to here, and here. Kind of reducing that branch back. There's some dead wood I can take off here, a branch that died back. This is a nice branch. This one down low here, it's kind of opposite this branch, so I'm going to take it right off, and it's kind of on the inside of a curve there. There's one here that's kind of, I'll reduce it back. I was going to prune it right out, but I'll reduce it back and then see how I feel about it once the tree's pruned up. Now there's one here that's gone quite vertical. I've got a branch, a really nice branch out front. I've got a dead wood branch out the back here, which I'll prune away, like that. And I could shorten it right back, and I think I will. So I'm going to, I'll leave a bit of a stub here, take it back, trimming that whole end off, bringing the whole tree down more compact. The one out the back here, you can see it kind of is on an angle in towards the center of the tree, and I have this nice branch fanning out here. So I could take the whole top off, and I think I will. So here I go. Like that. Really reducing this branch back. Now this branch out the back, I can reduce this one back to here, and this one back to here, getting this back branch more compact. Then I've got some behind the tree here. You can see I've got a branch coming out the back, and I need to prune that back shorter also. So I'll go to here, to here. And it's getting very tall out the back. There's a shoot that's gone vertical. I think I'll hard prune it back to a stub. Taking the whole top off that branch. Getting this tree pruned up very compact. Now, I'm wondering about this top here, if it's getting too tall. I think it is. It's got some nice ramification on it, some nice branching here. It's a shame to lose that. I'll leave it for now. It's too tall, isn't it? It's just too tall. Okay, I'm gonna have to hard prune it. Here I go. Hard pruning, big cut coming up, just like that. That gets that tree down to a better size. I think that looks good. So the tree behind it, I'm going for perspective. So this will be tallest tree, shorter, and then the one behind even shorter. So I've got to keep that in mind when I'm pruning, that I want to get these trees shorter and shorter as I go towards the back of the planting. So I'll prune this little branch back here. I'll prune this one off to the side. I'll prune it back to here. Like that. Again, here's a branch that's coming out, nothing growing out front, and it crosses back on the tree. Not very nice. Oh dear. Well, I'll prune it back short. Let's see what happens in that area. There's another branch here. I can prune the tip off. Now, so here's the height of this tree. So to shorten it, I have to come back. I'll try just shortening the branches and then I'll see what it looks like. There's another scale insect. Got it. Yeah, and if it's still too tall, then I'll have to do a hard prune on it. So I'm pruning it back as far as I can to some good foliage. These are Tigerbark Ficus. I don't think I mentioned that. So there's the height of it. So it's too high still. It doesn't, this tree, the height is about here, and this was just slightly smaller. Oh, here's another branch I can take back. Yeah, so it's still too tall, so I need to reduce the apex. I think I'll take this part of it off here. Like that. There's a branch I can take back here. And this one I'll take back to here. So that's got tree number 2 pruned up. You can see how it's shorter, more compact, looks better from the front. So now I've got to tackle this 3rd tree out the back. And it's also going to be shorter. So I will prune back these long leaders. And again, I'll probably have to come in and prune them. Hard prune them off shorter. It had some dieback here too. Prune that stub off. Leaf prune that off so this branch gets some light. There's another scale insect there. Okay, now you can see this part of it sticking way up here, so I've got to prune that back. I think I'm going to take that whole branch off here, the whole top of the tree. So here I go, big cut coming up. It's just getting too tall. Why am I having so much difficulty getting in there? So taking that whole top off the tree. So now you can see the trees taper back from tall to small. Pulling back the branches now. Another scale insect I'm getting off. Okay, so here I have too many branches coming up from one spot. So I need to pick my best ones, which will not be the ones on the inside here. I'll take both of those out. And I'll keep the 2 out the back here. That looks good. I could even take the whole top of this branch off. I will. Like that. That looks better. Now I have too many branches coming off here. Take that off. And I will take this one off. That way you can see the branch behind it. Now I have 3 branches coming up from one spot here. I think in this case I'm going to take the center one out. Like that. That's looking good on that tree. So you can see how the trees go from tall to small. They're a little bit shorter. They look more like a mature tree now. So these should fill in quite nicely over the remainder of the summer. I will spray all these trees with the soap and water at the end of the day to make sure I've killed any scale insects on them. So now I'm going to move on to these trees that are up front, the tallest trees in the planting. So again, I'll start by just pruning back the trees to some foliage, making them more compact, using directional pruning. once that new growth is reduced and I've got the dead wood out, I can then study the tree and then see what further branches I need to remove. And to be able to pick out what branches to keep and which ones to remove, you need to study trees. The more you look at pictures of ficus and trees, the more you get an idea of what a mature tree looks like, or the more you get to understand what a typical tree structure is. And so I tell people, don't study bonsai, study trees in nature, how they grow, the characteristics that make a ficus, and then try and, oh, there's a lot of scale insects on here. Or is it aphids? It's aphids. Oh, aphids. No wonder there's ants crawling around here. Okay, I got to get the soap and water out. Give these a good spray. Here I go. Bye bye aphids. Aphids do not like soap and water. I'll spray these trees down too. The soap and water smells good. Now, how is this for height? This could be reduced in height. It's getting way too tall. Where to prune it? I could prune this branch off here, and I will. Big cut. Taking the whole top off that branch. This one here I could prune back. Got the scale insects on it. Oh, I'll enjoy that soap and water scale insects. Yeah, I'm going to have to take the top off this tree. It's getting too tall. It's too thick up top. So I need to do a fairly good prune here. So here I go. Taking the whole top off the tree. Like that. So you can see that thick. That'd make a good cutting. So the tree is still quite tall. I'll reduce it a bit more, these new shoots. Got a new shoot coming out front here, which is fine. This one's a bit of an eye poker here. This is a strange looking branch. The end of it's died off and it's gone vertical. So there's two branches in this area that aren't very nice. I think I got to get rid of them. So usually when you cut a branch off in the trunk like this, you get a new sprout in that area. A new shoot that comes out that you can then develop. And just pruning back these branches, making it more compact. Now, is the tree too tall? It's about, twice as tall as the house, which is getting quite tall. And being tall, it looks tall and skinny. And so where would I reduce it if I wanted to reduce the height of this tree? It divides back here, but you don't want your apex going towards the back of the tree, so couldn't use that. If I went all the way down here, it would be a little too short, but I could grow it up. I don't think I need this branch. The trunk line comes up to the left. I got a branch to the right here, and this is right in front of it. I think I better take that off. It's too thick up top. So off it comes. Like that. So you can see it doesn't really change the look of the tree much. I don't need this branch on the inside here. And I don't need this branch here. Take that off. Reduce this back. Reduce this back. This one was, I'm trying to see. I don't think it was. It was scale insects. It wasn't aphids. So I'll just rub them off with my hand. Squish them. Mix them in with the soapy water here. They should be good. Now, I'm looking at the tree. I'm still not happy with it. I could hard prune it. I might have to do that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to hard prune this back to here. Here I go. It's just too tall. This one, I'm going to hard prune back to here. So hard pruning up top should stimulate, you know, a new canopy to form. This one's getting too tall. You can see how long it is with no branching. I'm going to prune it back hard too. This one is also very straight. It's got a branch, but it doesn't look good, so I'm going to hard prune that back to here. This is a dead branch here. I'll take that out. This one's not the greatest. I'll prune the end off here. And this one off here. Should grow a lot better without those scale insects. So some really hard pruning on this one. Now this branch here, I've got a really nice branch coming off here. I could take the whole top off the tree, and I will. Reducing this twin trunk way back. I'll just rough prune it off for now, like the whole top off there, and then I'll come in and clean that cut point up. Oh, if I got that. No, I didn't. I can come back further. There. That's better. So I think that's a nicer proportion between this trunk line and the main trunk. And that tree's done. So it's looking quite nice. Hard pruning on it, but you just have to do that every now and then. Otherwise your trees get too tall, the branch structure up top gets too rough, and I'm wondering if that's still too rough. I think it is. I think I want to reduce it. Do I want to prune it off? Yes. I'm going to take the whole top off. It's too rough looking, these branches up top. So off comes the top. It makes it kind of short, but it'll grow a new broom style up here, and it should be a good height in relation to the other trees there. Okay, well that was exciting. That was quite a pruning I gave that one. So the tree behind it, ideally I want it shorter. Again, to give me forced perspective. And, oh my goodness, I'll prune this back to here. So I finished pruning this back tree. You can still see it from the front view here, which is nice. So now I've got the two trees on the end here, and you can see how full they're getting. So let me get these pruned up. And that's got the trees pruned up. I'm going to give them a second spray with the soap and water, and try and scrape any scale insects off that I see. So here I go. Ficus trees are quite tough. They can take this soap and water no problem. The leaves are kind of waxy. The soap and water doesn't seem to affect them at all. But you should always test the soap and water on your trees before you go all out on them, because some trees are very sensitive to soap and water, and it can shrivel the leaves up. My poinsettia, for instance, if you spray that with soap and water, the leaves just shrivel up and die. They don't like it. So in that case, you might use a more dilute mixture of soap and water. This is 40 parts water to 1 part liquid dish soap, the kind that you hand wash your dishes with. And it seems to get the scale insects pretty good. Okay, I'll let that sit for 4 or 5 minutes, then I'll rinse the whole planting thoroughly. Here is a look at what I took off today. So like quite a pile of foliage. I really hard pruned these trees back. So the whole planting looks very sparse at the moment. However, once these trees begin to fill back out again, I think they'll look better than ever. I think the trunks are starting to mature on them, getting some nice root flare at the base. So these all started out as cuttings given to me by the Toronto Bonsai Society. They gave them out to 3 or 4 people, and each person did something different with the cuttings, and I created this Chinese village Penjing. It is time to rinse off the planting, so here I go. Start from above and spray the trees and eventually flush out the landscape. So I am going to be coming back to this landscape. I bought some copper foil for the roof that I want to try sticking on the roof and sculpting it to the tiles, and hopefully it'll turn that nice kind of coppery green color. I think that'll look really good. I need to clean up the landscape and maybe some redesign of the garden. So a lot of work to go on this planting still. So I will be coming back maybe fairly soon and doing the work on the landscape. Kind of, getting it ready for the show if it looks good. There's no guarantees this will look good for the fall shows, but I'll do what I can. I'll hopefully, at least the garden areas and that'll be looking good. Hopefully the trees will fill out and it'll all look quite nice. Just time will tell. If it doesn't, then you just keep working on it, and someday it'll look good. I've been thinking a lot about this planting. It is possible I could take one of the houses away and make more garden area, more, a pond and more pathways. Maybe, taking this house back further, taking away the small one. There's a lot of possibilities. I'm going to leave it as it is for now, and later on, maybe in a week or so, I'll come back and we'll work on the landscape, getting it all pruned up and cleaned up, maybe planting some more little bushes out front and trying to make it look very small and miniature and nice looking. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.